What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. I'm going to make it very quick for you guys so we can jump back into what I'm actually trading. And I am in JNUG. JNUG is a gold-based ETF. I'm going to be sharing my screen right now. I'm using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. And pretty much this video usually just talks about how to trade or how to find stocks during pre-market hours. And I share my whole thought process right during that. I ended up having to hold a stock overnight, which was more of an ETF. It's JNUG, which is a gold-based ETF, and it tends to do well when our economy tends to, show signs of uncertainty. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. And then we can go from there. But thank you guys again so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And then I'll be explaining the title. Alrighty. So this is JNUG. JNUG, let's go ahead and move this. I'm really going to be focusing on gold-based ETFs or stocks today. And the reason why was yesterday JNUG had a support just like it did, the day before during pre-market hours, and the support was around, $16. It held pretty well above $16. It did go below $16 even pre-market hours, but it was very faintly. And then actually when it started to, build traction, that's when we saw this huge rise. I'm not too sure if you guys remember my video that I uploaded last night or a couple hours ago. It was about 9 hours ago. It's when I went live, and I talked about this this speech that President Trump had on his agreement to actually leave the Paris Accords, and in doing that, that shows signs of uncertainty. People just a lot of mixed feelings about it, not 100% sure on how it is that they feel when it comes to that specific topic. And President Trump tends to, or at least we see, small rises when President Trump does something that at least shows some signs of uncertainty. In no way am I, subjugating or trying to, badmouth, what the president is doing. And again, it has nothing to do with that. I'm simply just talking about, usually when he does things like that, we tend to see little spikes with, these gold-based ETFs. So this spike for those that held overnight from $16 or that got in during pre-market hours has had the opportunity of locking in 6.85% profit. But for those that got in right before the market closed yesterday from at 6.35 and sell right now at $17, that's about 3.81%, especially for those that didn't want to day trade. It just shows you that opportunity that you have when you plan out a trade, correctly. In no way could you have ever predicted, President Trump, talking about that and then it leading to that. But it looks like it's actually taking a little dip. And then let's actually see what happens. But other than that, I really wanted to see, if following with a trillion stop loss when it comes to trading these gold-based ETFs like JNUG. JDST is the inverse stock of, inverse ETF of JNUG. So when JNUG goes up, JDST goes down. So you can see this huge dip that it took. So if JNUG starts to, really take a dip, then we know that JDST is most likely going to start seeing a rise, which just means that, we sell JNUG and then we can move on over to JDST. NUGT is the same as JNUG, so it rises when there's uncertainty within our economy, and this one also saw a little rise. Yeah, so they're all about the same. This should be about 3.85%. Let's see. From the current price. Yeah, 3.9%. So this one rose a little bit more. And then there's gold. Same thing here. It's funny how they all react the same, right? Because they pretty much have the same. They're pretty much the same. There's a difference if you look a little bit more into them when it comes to the actual ETF and what they stand for. But overall, they are very similar and react and use very similarly. Other than that, there was another stock that I was watching, and it was FTR. It was at 130. And it bounced at 130. We called out the support around 128 to 130, and it's starting to show signs of upward momentum. Right now, it has a kind of a resistance at $1.33. And what I mean by that is you can see it used to flatline at $1.33. So as long as we can push on through that, then maybe we can jump on in. But I really want to focus on these gold-based ETFs and follow through on how they end up doing, just to see if locking in profits is ideal, or if we can follow with the trailing stop loss and it can continue to rise. So what I mean by that, for those that aren't too familiar with following with the trailing stop loss, especially if you're using the Robinhood platform, as it continues to rise, instead of locking in profits at the moment, you can follow. Let's say it goes above 710, which is currently the resistance right now, right? So 710 being the current resistance. Let's say it breaks above 710. So then once it breaks above 710, 710 becomes a new support. So you put, a stop loss at 710 and it's trading at like 720. Let's say, all of a sudden it takes a massive spike, and it, rises all the way to like, 1750, or anything like that, right? You follow with the trailing stop loss, so you put a stop loss at like 1740. The reason that you do that is to actually lock in profits if all of a sudden it takes a dip, that it'll sell your position automatically, in efforts to at least lock in the profit that you've already been able to lock in. So other than that, I'd really like to follow with the trailing stop loss, but if it takes a dip below 1690, I'm most likely going to sell my position. It actually looks like it might actually break the support right now. But this is actually during pre-market hours, and if anything, JNUG tends to do pretty well once the market actually does end up opening. If you could see during pre-market hours, it never really does very well. Other than that, yeah, especially with this news about, it doesn't necessarily mean that, whoa, my alarm. It doesn't necessarily mean that anything bad is going to happen, or, let's see. Yeah, it's not really stocks high. Yeah, so it has to do with news, but not really. Um, Other than that, I'm really gonna just continue to wait during pre-market hours. I can take a look at some other stocks that might be gapping up, um, according to, yeah. But if you see, like, the ones that are seeing the most volume are all these gold-based companies. So Jana, NUGT, Dust, and then gold. So it's ridiculous, how much they're moving. But let's go ahead and take a look at AMD. AMD took a pretty big dip. It had a support at 1080 yesterday. So if you see this little candlestick, this little whisker at 1080, and that's actually where it's bouncing. So if it shows about like 1 to 2 green candlesticks, then it might start showing signs of upward momentum. And then let's say it bounces back to the resistance that it was at. This margin of profit is about 1.59%. So not necessarily the amount that you want to day trade, since it isn't enough for the $1,000 challenge. But it's at a pretty low point, especially if you want to just swing trade it. But really depends on what you identify potential in and stuff like that. So go ahead and follow up with that. DGAZ. And all I'm doing right now, guys, again, is going through my watch list from top to bottom, the ones that see the highest volume, the one that sees the lowest. And I like to focus on ones that see healthy amounts of volume, just because usually when they gap up, shows they tend to see an increase in volume. And in doing that, it doesn't always mean that they're doing good, like in the green. It could also mean that they're seeing pretty big drops. And the reason I like that is because then they build margins of profit. It dropped from 26 down to 25. That means it has the potential to jump back up to where it was. And all those that are holding are trying to break even. But since I buy at the low price and sell for a profit, that's about 4.74%. And again, it's just continuing to try to set up plans, make sense of your trades, set up a plan to minimize loss and stuff like that. And it comes down to a concept that's simple, but being super disciplined and understanding the importance of you know your plan and staying consistent. So looks like we have a couple questions within the TechBud Solutions group chat, and then there's a couple people here. So let's see. So it looks like I'm being tagged. They're asking me, what do I think about RH? I'm guessing, is that Robinhood, or is that an actual? Let's see. Oh, it must be this stock. Let's see. I don't know anything about this stock. This is the first time that I've ever looked at it. 20-day analysis. It was showing signs of like just consistent upward momentum. Now it's built this gap, and is that bad? Well, it actually just had this huge drop, and again, this is a gapper, right? It had this huge drop of what is this? What's the percentage? 25%. It lost 25% of its value, and now it's gapping up. So as long as it continues to rise back to where it was, then you have this percentage of potential profit of about 21%. So if this makes sense to you, and the potential for loss, which is from here to here, let's say the support is at $43.12, and you stop loss there, and you try to get in at the current price, then your potential for loss is about 3.5%. When your potential for profit, if you try to sell back at where it was, simply a couple hours ago, is 22.27%. Obviously, your potential for profit is a lot greater than your potential for loss. So I'd actually like to keep my eye on this one, because does it mean 100% that it's going to go back up to where it is or where it was? Well, of course not, right? That's not the whole point of this. It's about like setting up a plan, identifying potential, minimizing loss, and kind of going from there. And I feel like even with just these couple of minutes that I just looked at it, I can set up a pretty simple plan. It's showing signs of upward momentum. It's bouncing. It has a support right now at about 45. If I really wanted to look at it, so it's holding above this $45 mark. As long as it continues to show signs that it's holding above 25, then that's all I really care about. I could even stop loss out if I really wanted to at like 44.40, meaning that I'm only risking 1.39%, when my potential for profit is, again, still about 20%. I'd like to look a little bit more into RH, especially with this huge drop or this huge gap that it created, because I mean, obviously this isn't just random. Something had to have happened. Alrighty. Yeah, thank you again. This is the whole point. The group is so useful. I mean, Gear randomly just talked about a certain stock that talked about and asked for my opinion on RH, and I simply performed a technical analysis, and now it's something that I'm interested in. Not because no, he told me to trade it, because in no way does anyone within our group tell someone to trade something that they're not comfortable with, or tell someone to trade anything, right? If you don't see potential or make sense of a trade yourself, then why trade it, right? So it really came down just to the exposure, and in doing that, now I can pretty much set up a plan on how I'm going to trade RH, in a sense to solve for a profit, and it's something that I developed myself. Simply, I used the group for exposure, and again, I talked about my whole thought process, so I hope that makes sense. Let's take a look at our friend still holding at the support. Alrighty, we have about what is that? 14 minutes till the market opened. They told me to take a look at DGAZ one more time. DGAZ, I mean, I really missed out on this one. I called it out about 20 days ago when it was at $17, and ever since then, after this huge spike, I've just regretted it since I didn't get it. But again, you never can fully 100% predict them. I just thought that, again, if you go a little bit further back, it had a pretty solid support around $17. So I thought when it was at like 17.08, that was a good sign. The potential for risk or for loss wasn't really big or really there. Potential for profit to come back up to where it was at 23 was ideally what I was kind of looking for. and now it surpassed that, and it's around 26, 29. So they were pretty much asking me, what's to come for DGAZ. I really think it's just been consistently showing signs of upward momentum. It's been increasing pretty well, and you know just identify the low points, identify the high points, and set up a plan. So if it's regardless of what it is that you're trading, no matter how many times it's been shown signs of upward momentum, you never truly know, how it's going to play out. And that's why it's so important to, set up a plan. So all I see here is that almost every day it's been consistently showing signs of upward momentum. Every time, an old resistance becomes a new support, and then again, old resistance becomes a new support, old resistance becomes a new support. But if you see how it opened today, um, it's bouncing again at the support at around 25. And then once it breaks above 26, just be sure that you look at the RSI indicators to identify a good time to sell. But again, the support's at about 24.70. So if I were to trade DGAZ, I would try to buy anything above 24.70, wait for the bounce, like it's showing right now, showing signs of upward momentum, and then sell when the RSI indicator is indicating that it's like oversold, right? So other than that, I feel like the potential for loss if you get in around $25 and you stop loss out is about 1.15%, when your potential for profit if you get in around 25 and try to sell even at the resistance that it currently has. That's 4.07. But if you check the previous trends, it's at least previously every single time broken, the resistance and then passed it pretty easily. And even during the pre-market hours, it shows a little dip, bounces at like half of the support, and then goes up. Same thing again, bounces at support during pre-market hours, breaks the resistance, then goes up, creates a support, bouncing at the support, it'll break the resistance, and most likely, peak out around like $27, $28. Again, this is just based on previous trends. You'd never know 100%, but this is a funny trend. I actually wasn't too aware of this one. I've been noticing that it's been consistently increasing, but DGAZ is just one that I just didn't think it was doing that well, but it really is. It's just showing consistent signs of upward trend. So I appreciate um, you bringing this one up, Pat. And it's just rising. So it's actually, let's see, it's rising too quick. My goodness. So it looks like JNUG is actually, it has a little support around 1690, which is pretty obvious, and a resistance at $17, which is the resistance that it's been having at least the past couple of days. Every time that I break above $17, it drop right back down. And that's just a very common trend. Again, $17, it dropped back down. So is it surprising that it's struggling to go above $17? Well, not really, especially not during like pre-market hours. The volume isn't necessarily there. So hopefully once the market opens, we might see a little pullback, but then maybe we can squeeze on through some profit. But again, you never know exactly what it is that's going to happen. So you always want to make sure that you stick to your plan. And if your plan is to stop loss at, 1690 because you want to lock in profits there, and you're missing out on potential profit that it might continue to rise, just know that this potential, it's better to lock in profits, for what it is that you already have, so about 3.5%, rather than hoping for the best that it continues to rise and stuff like that. Which it might rise just because of the news and how it may lead. But again, consistency at least for myself has been key to just consistently growing my account with the power of compounding interest. Other than that, I really don't see why you wouldn't stick to your plan. But overall, I'm super excited for this market open, especially for those that there's a couple of you that told me that you guys are also in JNUG, and we really have to see. And I want you guys to understand, like there's trends that even like by the year do pretty well. So like petroleum companies, as in gas companies, tend to do pretty well during the summer. So now that we're approaching these summer months, just know that petroleum tends to do pretty well because the increase in like travel and stuff like that, and more spending goes towards that specific sector within our economy. and just identify, maybe there's been a lot of talk with marijuana stocks. So I don't know anything about marijuana stocks or anything like that. But just think about how you can become an expert in a specific sector or specific market. You can day trade like all of us and stuff like that. But there's actually a buddy of mine that came on over. He wanted to learn how to day trade a little bit more, and he was like, "Man, this is like so overwhelming. How are you supposed to keep up with these like hundreds of penny stocks and know what it is, that they're doing and stuff like that?" And I was like, "Well, in all honesty, um, you know, a lot of people don't even know like much about these penny stocks. We're more like technical traders and stuff like that." But you're making a great point. So what I pretty much thought of was, why not become a professional or an expert in a specific market or sector, and let that be your like core piece of pie, and making sure that you're always up to date, and you know the most about that specific market. So when any news comes out, when it comes to actually making sense of it, you know exactly what it is to do because you're so well experienced in that specific market. Let's say like marijuana, a certain law passes and you knew that it was going to pass. Once it passes, you know what stocks to go for. And in doing that, just again, the more you know, the better that you'll do. And having that main piece of pie, although it is going to take extra work, although it is going to maybe not be extremely profitable in the beginning, but having your main piece of pie, sometimes when you're looking to day trade other stocks and it's not really working out, just because you're so knowledgeable about a specific market or a specific sector, maybe that can lead you to be a little bit more successful, just because you can make better judgments based on current news and stuff like that. So again, I have a couple minutes to fill before the market opens, since I'm still trading JNUG. But other than that, I really wanted to at least talk about something that I was talking to about with one of my buddies, and that was the importance of um, trying to be the best that we can be in everything that we choose to pursue. And I think, trying to identify a market that you really enjoy, if it's gold, if it's, um, just raw metals, whatever it is, oil, marijuana, whatever market you want to focus on, just try to be the best at it. And just imagine with this huge community that we have, again, TechBud Solutions, nearly breaking 22,000 members now. Just imagine if each member has, a specific, just above average understanding of a specific sector or market, almost a professional in that specific market. And we try to focus and really learn as much as we can of that specific market. Overall, like just imagine the quality of the group, and how much more the type of just content, and just information being shared within our group can be that much greater. So the reason that I say, like, I tend to focus more kind of on gold, but again, not 100%, is because when it comes to managing this group, I have to kind of be almost a little bit more well-rounded. But I definitely don't want to use that as an excuse. I definitely need to identify, my own specific sector that I really enjoy, studying, and something that I want to make sure that I can make my core piece of pie. And in doing that, then I can be sharing my ideas as well. But I want to make sure that you guys do the same. I love hearing, like, in yesterday's video within the comment section, a lot of you guys, I suggested, don't let just me be the person talking about, what it is that I like, and what it is that I do, and what it is that I do bad or good. Again, talking about our best practices, talking about our mistakes, but also for you guys. There's so many of you guys, and so many of you guys are so smart and do so well within this group. I want to make sure that your guys' voices are heard. I try to congratulate you guys within the group, but there's so many of you that unfortunately I do not get the opportunity to talk to each and every one of you guys. But I want to make sure that, if it's not me that benefits off of your best practice, then it could be at least someone within this group. So again, comment down below, not in the live chat because no one's really going to see that after this live stream closes. But if you want to help out someone, right, then you could either post it in the Facebook group, since that's going to be a little bit more permanent, or you can post it in the comments section and talk about what market that you might want to focus on, the reason why, and why you think it could be a profitable market. And I think about just that simple information on what market you might want to focus on, the reason why, and why you think it's going to be profitable, can actually expose someone to be like, wow, maybe focusing on marijuana can actually be something that I might want to dedicate my time to, because yes, it is a growing market. Yes, because certain laws might be passed or something like that. Again, I don't know much about that specific type of market, but overall, it comes down to you guys and how much you guys want to put time towards it to actually identify that potential. So it looks like we have 3 minutes to market open. I'm going to be answering a couple questions and go from there. So if you guys within the live chat actually want to ask any questions, then go ahead and let me know. Let's see. So Chandler Winter says, "Hi Ricky, what's going on, bud?" Daniel Abbott says, "Morning, all. What's going on, man?" Herman Sign says, "Slip marijuana in there real quick," and then he starts laughing. Um, ECYT. Why is that being talked about so much? ECYT. Whoa. All right, I'm going to be sharing my screen, and then there's another one that's being talked about, LINU. So the one that they're talking about is this huge dip that it took from $2.50 all the way down to $1.76. So again, this potential for profit, if it breaks above this $2 mark, it seems to be the current resistance. So if it breaks about this $2 mark, we might have a gapper and it might get back up to where it was. So I'm going to set my alerts, and when it goes above like 208 or something like that, maybe that can let me know that it's gapping up. But I also want to know if it breaks support and go from there. Again, I'm going to check on RH. Whoa, took a little dip. It was doing pretty well and took a little dip, and it's actually pretty low. Wow, okay. Let me see if I can get in on this one with my Fidelity account, since I don't have any more day trades. My Robinhood account. All right. Oh, wow, this thing's taking a pretty big dip. I'll follow up with this one. Looks like it has a support at, let's see. All right. All right, it's balancing. So, as you can see, I had quite a bit of alerts when it came to JNEG. So, dang, this one bounced very quick. Missed out on that. That's 2.17%. That JNUG is still gapping up. All right, again, don't overwhelm yourself, guys. Really keep it simple. Stay consistent and have a plan, right? So I'm going to be sticking to just focusing on JNUG for the day, although there's other ones that have potential. Until I sell my position on JNUG, I'm going to try to focus on that. And it tends to be having still a resistance at that $17 mark. I'm going to change my 5-minute candlestick to 1 minute, just so I stay a little bit more up to date. We got a couple buyers here. Let's go ahead and see if we can break this resistance at 710. Is really what we really need to see it break through. Nope, pullback. Breaking below the support again at $17, $16.99, $17. we go. So I just got the alert that AMD went last or below. What was that? 1086. Can we break 710 or should I sell? 710, can we break above it? AMD just went below 1080. I'm gonna set my alert here because this is very frustrating. Oh, looks like there's no reason to set my alert. It broke above it, and that's most likely gonna be the new support. I'm gonna set my stop loss there, guys, and see if that's where I'm gonna be locking in profits. But it looks like this live stream is going on a little bit longer than we expected. Other than that, I wanna again wish you guys the best of luck when it comes to trading. If there's anything else that I can do to assist you guys in your success, again, the link is provided for you down below for you to join the free networking group that we have. It's simply, if you have a Facebook group, you can, or Facebook profile, you can join. And then on the top pin post, once you get accepted, is where all the group chats are. I want to wish you guys again the best of luck and an amazing weekend. Like always, I mean, we're going to post a follow-up video throughout the midday today around 5:30 to 6. And then be ready for our Sunday stock talk. Again, if there's anything else that I can do for you guys to assist you guys in your success, whoa. Oh, looks like that stock actually went above 208. Okay. If there's anything else that I can do to assist you guys in your success, please go ahead and let me know. But like always, let's make sure that we end the week on a green note. Take care, guys.